Hello. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good day, Hime. Or should I say, good day, Hellme. Sending this to the Great Firewall. Hope it stays safe. Oh, the Great Firewall. The creepypastas you have internet is always too slow to... No! Hello, everybody. I hope we're all getting comfy over here. Ready for some fire... What's this called? Campfire stories. Campfire stories. Oh, they're super spooky. Oh, they're super spooky. You're gonna be terrified out of your pants by the first one. Man door, hook, hand card door. Alright, burning. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Throughout the neighbor, for some reason, the only thing that was coming to mind was fireplace. I was like, hey, wait a second, this isn't a fireplace. No jump scare alerts. Yeah, where the fuck are my alerts? But I did turn off the audio for the alerts because I wanted today to be kind of a comfy reading session. I'm feeling kind of fatigued recently. Just tired, so I wanted to have a little bit of a break, a little bit of a just a cozy reading session with some spooky stories with you guys. Good enough to roast marshmallows with. Yeah. How many stories you got? I don't know. I tried to look for out of the ones that you guys submitted, I kind of wanted to look for ones that were like not too long, so we don't lose like focus, but also like have good reviews and everything. Yeah, how's the BGM and the ambience, the ambiance? Yeah, I'm also resting my voice a little bit because I had to record a lot of things recently, and you know, had my singing yesterday, but I need to rest my voice a little bit. Vision good? Okay, good. Alright. Shall we get started? You guys have your hot cocoa? I don't have hot cocoa. It's too hot for a hot drink right now, so I have some green tea in my... I have some chilled green tea in my little Starbucks tumbler. You seem comfy. That's what I like to hear. Scorching hot. Yeah, it's... Especially in like this part of the world, it's always so hot. Even though it's like almost the... It's basically almost November. What the fuck? That's crazy. Anyways, are you ready for the most terrifying story of your life? Alright. Story 1. I watched Himemiya ri e. The end. Oh my god, that's terrifying. That's so scary. So spooky. Based on true events. Shaking and crying right now. Truly a fate worse than death. Okay, no, for real. The first one that I found interesting. Can I paste this whole title? How do I even title this? Okay. The full title is As I Got on the Elevator, The man getting off whispered something strange to me. Okay, I'll just call it the 9th floor. Hime, hey, I was late, mate. Only bait is left. Great. Wow, bro thinks he's William Shakespeare over here. So, oh yeah. So I'm just gonna call this the 9th floor. It's pretty interesting. Okay, let me. The 9th floor. Dun dun dun. Let's turn the music down a little bit. Don't get off until you hit the 9th floor. No exceptions. But my interview is on 5, I replied. The man getting off whispered something strange to me. I'll only say this one more time. Don't get off until you hit 9th. No other floor is safe. It's crazy, but something about the way he said it penetrated my skull. Not a good enough reason to use the word penetrate. He was serious. And he looked nervous. Like he had to fight every instinct in his body to say that to me. The doors closed. Well, I thought to myself, who the fuck says anything like that? As I went to hit the button for the 5th floor, some anxiety came over me. But I shook it off and pressed it. The guy was probably just off his rockers. The elevator went up. I scanned my surroundings. A TV bolted to the top corner of the elevator, playing the weather channel. A mirror for the back wall of the elevator. And some cozy lounge-style music playing. Pretty standard stuff. Now arriving at the 5th floor. Weird. Not sure if I'd ever been in an elevator that announced each floor it was arriving at. I was sure that if I worked in this building, this would get old pretty quickly. Bing bong! The doors opened on 5. In front of me was a reception area with women seated at the front desk. She stood up from her seat. Ah, Mr. Davis, you're early. The gentleman's warning from earlier played in my head. We'll be ready for your interview in a few moments. In the meantime, please feel free to take a seat. Thank you, I responded. If I'm, early, maybe I can come back in a few minutes? Nonsense. We'll see if we can speed things up. He's been very excited to meet you. The elevator doors started closing. I held them open. Wasn't really sure what to do here, but everything seemed fine enough. Granted, the receptionist did seem a bit eager, but beyond that... From my vantage point, I scanned the office space behind the front desk area. All looked pretty normal. Cubicles, folks clicking away at the computer, a kitchen area. Pretty unremarkable. That is, except for the portrait off at the far end of the office floor. It was very large. I couldn't tell what the picture was of, but I did see a group of employees staring at it, almost admiring it. Your wife's name is Meredith, right? I froze as the receptionist's question shot a dart right through me. I didn't remember the job application form ever asking for my wife's name. You two are thinking of having children, right? If it's a boy, you want to name him Sam? What the fuck? Forget that she was right on the money. This was something I'd never spoken about before to anyone, including even my wife. Before I could answer, the office workers surrounding the large portrait started singing the happy birthday song loudly, in complete and perfect unison. Someone brought out a birthday cake and presented it to the portrait. A portrait that, after a bit of squinting, I realized was a very large version of my high school yearbook photo. What the fuck? Just imagine, like, people... Everyone's starting to sing happy birthday in complete unison, like perfect unison, to the portrait of your high school... Dude, high school yearbook photos, they always look like shit. Okay. I backed into the elevator and pressed the closed door button. I panicked as it took its sweet time to register. Press, 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 come the fuck on! After what felt like an eternity, the doors started closing. As they closed, I heard the receptionist. I'm so curious to know what your insides taste like, Michael. Fuck me. 9th floor. I needed to go to the 9th floor. I found the 9th floor button and pressed it. It felt like it didn't register my push, so I pressed the button again. And again. Come on, come on, come on, come on. 9th fucking floor. I tried again and again, but nothing was happening. Fuck it. I'll go back to the ground floor, I thought to myself. Back to the start. As I went to press the G button, though, I realized it was missing. Just that one singular button gone. Fuck. I was getting claustrophobic. I took in deep breaths to prevent myself from having a full-blown episode. The elevator started moving up again. A panel above the elevator doors lit up with the following number, 11. Someone was calling the elevator? I started talking to myself to self-soothe. It's okay. Someone will call the 9th floor soon. That's where I get off. As the elevator approached its new destination, I noticed that the background lounge music in the elevator had changed. It was now an instrumental arrangement of Happy Birthday. Huh. Not sure why this thing thought it was my birthday. I glanced at the weather report on the TV. At least it was gonna be sunny all week. Silver linings. Now arriving at the 11th floor. Bing bong! The doors opened. I hung around the inside corner of the elevator beside the buttons. No need to have another nightmarish experience, right? An old woman stepped onto the elevator. Great. I'm sure this will be easy to explain to her. She smiled at me as the doors closed. With a lump in my throat, I asked, what floor? Ground floor, please. I'm sorry, ma'am, but that button is missing. Maybe we could wait until someone calls us to the 9th floor? What? No, I think I'll just go. I don't know how to do a granny voice. I don't know. I think I'll just go to the 2nd floor instead then. Imitate Sheena. The stars in the sky. Do you like them? She went to press the button. Ma'am, I don't think it'd be safe to... I have plenty of friends on the 2nd floor. It'll be okay. And she pressed it. I didn't feel comfortable cornering an elderly stranger in a seemingly haunted elevator, but I tried again to convince her. I know this sounds weird, but I have it under good authority that the 2nd floor probably isn't safe. I'd strongly recommend not getting off until we reach 9. She smiled. There, it'll be alright. You know, I like to take all opportunities that are given to me. It's a shame that you turned your opportunity down. I know the folks on 5 are very disappointed. I backed up into the corner of the elevator. I saw the reflection of the old lady in the elevator's back mirror. She looked ghastly, otherworldly. Now arriving at the 2nd floor. Bing bong! The doors open. She smiled again and exited. I poked my head around the corner to look at the 2nd floor. It was damp. It looked old, more like a cave than an office. I heard a low rumble. A man dressed in a fancy suit approached the elevator doors and held them open before they could close. You getting off here too, champ? I heard that 5 wanted you, but I think we can give you a better offer. I'm good. You sure, bud? The salary is $800,000 per hour? I'm good. I'm kidding, bud. The salary is we remove your eyes so you don't have to see him. The floor went pitch black. The low rumble got much louder and started reverberating in my ears. Suddenly, the businessman grabbed me by the collar and tried to pull me out of the elevator. I clung onto the ends of it. Fuck! Fuck! I started kicking and headbutting him. I was able to make him let go of me momentarily as I desperately pressed on the closed doors button. Miraculously, the elevator responded much quicker this time and they closed immediately. I tried the 9th floor button again. Didn't work. I pressed 8 instead. Anything to get away from this hellhole of a floor. I heard a loud banging on the door as the elevator started taking off, like an aggressive knock. Dun dun dun. As I saw the floor numbers rising, 3, 4, 5. The banging continued, just as loud. What the fuck? 6th floor. 7th floor. The banging on the door didn't subside. Now arriving at the 8th floor. I pressed the button for the 23rd floor. Just as we arrived on 8, I mashed the closed doors button just as the elevator doors were about to open. The banging continued as the elevator door started denting. The elevator continued going up. 9, 10, 11. The banging softened. 14, 15, and softened. 19, 20, 21, and disappeared. Now arriving at the 23rd floor. It was gone, thank fucking God. I exhaled. It felt like I narrowly avoided disaster. The doors opened. I scanned a new floor and I realized I was back on the ground floor. That's what it looked like anyways. Did I escape? Was I finally free? A man stood not too far from the door. He looked familiar, but I couldn't exactly place him. Hey man, he spoke. Was this the guy who got off the elevator just as I got on? Hey. It's over, man. You got out. He told me. I felt a wave of relief wash over me, but I had to fight it. But you said the 9th floor was the only safe one, right? That was a trick. You followed your gut and you were right. 23rd floor, the real safe floor. You can step out now, man. I didn't leave. There's someone who really wants to see you. I couldn't move. He wants to give you a job. He thinks you're gonna be great. Why the fuck couldn't I move? He's in the other room. I'm gonna fetch him, okay? All you have to do is look at him. It'll feel a bit weird at first, but then it'll be okay. It's a permanent position. Great benefits. It is fully on-site, but no better birthday present than the new job, right? I lowered my gaze to the floor. I forced myself to mutter the following words. It's not my fucking birthday. As he left to fetch whoever he was meaning to fetch, he gave me the following response. Relax, man. No cursing on the job. We're a family here. God, I hate that. It felt like I could only move a centimeter at a time. A true snail's pace. I inched my finger closer and closer to the closed door button. I heard footsteps. He was coming back. With every fiber of my being, I pushed through. I hit the button. The doors closed and I collapsed to the floor, free from whatever weird force was stopping me from moving. I'll let you two talk more in the elevator. I heard him say from outside doors. What? Instinctively, I looked around. To my surprise, there was nothing. The elevator was the same as it had always been. I was done with all this. At this point, I would have taken death over continuing this bullshit any longer. As I pondered my next move in a hopeless situation, I noticed something strange. The button to the 9th floor was lit up, an ominous crimson-red color. Before I could do anything else, my phone started ringing. I checked the call. It was my wife. That's the true horror. I answered. Babe, fuck, I don't even know why I didn't think to call you. I'm trapped in an elevator and fucked up shit is happening and maybe I should call the cops? Fuck, Hun, don't go to the 9th floor. What? Wait, how do you even... It's a trick, honey. You have to trust me. The man from before is lying to you. It's not safe. None of this has been safe. How do you even know everything that's happening? You just need to trust me, hun. I paused. So what do you want me to do then? A demon on the other side of the phone answered this time. Go to your interview. I hung up the call and in a panic. I mashed on the 9th floor button. The elevator started rising again. Even with me hanging up the call, the muffled sound of the demonic voice coming from my phone continued. Go to your interview. Go to your interview. Go to your interview. I pulled out my phone and flung it to the ground as hard as I could. I stomped on it angrily. The warped sound of "Go to your interview" started slowly dying out. But suddenly, the elevator started shaking. It was continuing to go up, but it was faster than usual. Like, really, really fucking fast all of a sudden. Almost like the 9th floor was now way below me. It felt like an amusement park with no brakes on it. Loose, dangerous, flinging up at an insane speed, almost as if it was falling upwards. But I pressed 9! I screamed to myself, exasperated. It didn't matter. Now arriving at the 41st floor. God, what the fuck? I was brought to my knees by the speed of the elevator traveling faster and faster. Now arriving at the 90th floor. The buttons didn't even go past 52. Now arriving at the 141st floor. Fuck. Now arriving at the 230th floor. Now arriving at the 401st floor. I felt like I was inside a bullet. The pleasant voice of the elevator lady was getting deeper and deeper as we rose. Now arriving at the 840th floor. The voice started croaking, a demonic sound this time. Now arriving at somewhere nice. A sudden halt. The elevator stopped. The doors didn't open though. The panel above the elevator doors had no indication on what floor we were on. As I sat, I heard what could be best described as the sounds of hell coming from outside the elevator. Low grunts of pain, crackling, a dark hymn. Was this where I was supposed to get off? Before I could ponder the question further, I heard a soft tapping on the elevator. A voice from outside. Do you want to trade? Said the voice. I decided to buy it for reasons I still don't fully understand. What do you mean? What if you stay on this floor forever and I get to go home? I think I'm good. But I really want to go home. It almost sounded like the voice of a kid. Fucking hell. I'm sorry, kid. I mustered back. It's okay. An awkward silence between us. He told me that he wants to wish you a happy birthday, said the kid. I think he's got it wrong. Today isn't my birthday. It is, he responded. It's the first day of your new life. Your birthday. Hmm? He wants you to look at the TV. What? I looked at the TV in the top corner of the elevator, hoping to see the one constant I'd had during this whole cursed trip. The weather. Except the TV was... Instead, the TV was now showcasing what looked like to be CCTV footage. Grainy footage from a camera of the exact elevator I was in. A live feed of this exact moment. Except the TV showed me lying down, looking up with a wide smile on my face, and something above me on the ceiling, looking straight down at me. Him. The lights in the elevator went off. The elevator plummeted downwards as I closed my eyes and screamed for dear fucking life. I waited for the impact, for what I knew was demise. Here it comes. Here it fucking comes. I'm not ready. I'm not ready at all. Now arriving at the 9th floor. Ping pong! The doors opened. Wait, what? 9th floor? I peeked out from the elevator. Another reception desk. Wait, is this really the... I was interrupted by a voice from the outside. Coming out or what, you fucking moron? I got to my feet. The feeling of distrust, anxiety, whatever you call it, my fear intuition, it was gone. I felt light. Fuck it. I stepped onto the floor and approached the counter. The receptionist handed me what looked like a button for the elevator. For the ground floor, she said. Single use only. I took it and headed towards the elevator. Then I turned back to face her. Can I, maybe take the stairs? She shook her head. If you didn't like the elevator, then you're really not gonna like the stairs. Fair enough. I got into the elevator, and I said a silent prayer to myself as I put the button where it belonged. It fit without any issue. I pressed it and the elevator went down. It was a smooth ride. Now arriving at the ground floor. Ping pong! As I got ready to exit, I realized that the ground floor button was missing once again. Strange. I didn't linger on it. I marched out ready to get the fuck out of this building. I noticed a woman running onto the elevator. I tried to stop her, but something in my body wouldn't let me. The most I could muster was putting my hand on the door to relay a message to her before the doors close. Don't get off until you reach the 9th floor. No matter what. The woman just smiled at me. Happy birthday, Michael. And that was the 9th floor. The 9th floor from r/no sleep by World Away, Tweety. It's Hime's birthday! Yippee! Happy birthday! So we get the job. I can assume so. Yeah, any job that says we're a family here is such a red flag. Happy birthday, Michael. Happy It's Hime's birthday! It's Lopi! Lopi, welcome! Hello, welcome! My name is Himemiya Ri from Face Connect Gen 2 Face Alias, also known as Hellme for now, because it's spooky week. And today we are reading some creepypastas. We're reading some horror stories around the campfire. So grab a drink, grab a blankie, and get comfy. Rage quit rate. I hope you had a good stream. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Spooky stories, yeah. Spoopy, welcome to hell. No, this is not hell. This is just... we're just sitting around a comfy campfire. I hope you had a good stream, and I hope you can rest well now. What's Lopi? Hi, hello. Let me mod you real quick. Thank you for dropping by. ちょっと待ってね。よいしょ。よいしょ。Jackson, thank you. Himetax, thank you for super chat. Luffy says hi, wants me to say nice small. Oh, thank you. This is just my hellish form. This is my hellish form. I normally look much pinker, but the pink Hime, she's dead for now. She's dead for now. She'll say that your model is amazing and you're lovely. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think you're lovely too, Luffy. Don't tell her I said that. Oh, I'm shy now. Oh, I'm shy now. She can't get her blood out. Yeah, it's just drenched in blood. But anyways, we just finished reading one creepypasta. I'm about to read another one about a Ouija board. A Luigi board? What should we call this? Ouija board. First time. Real. Not clickbait. Welcome! A Luigi board? Luigi! Why Luigi? Okay. Let me get my story time voice on again. You guys ready? You guys ready? Me and my friends are using a Ouija board for the first time, and it keeps asking people to leave the room. Ooh. I'm using this post to chronicle the events of this evening as they have been truly fascinating. Some quick backstory. The small section of the city that me and my friends live is generally known to be haunted. And even if you're not a believer in the supernatural, it's at least a bit eerie. I'm not gonna dox myself by stating the location, but let's just say that creepy sightings and murders or deaths due to unexplainable circumstances are basically our bread and butter. For most people, this means you move away as soon as they can. For folks like me and my friends, though, who absolutely love all things spine-chilling, it generally makes for a pretty good time. Our Halloween parties are awesome. Most of our drinking nights have some sort of spooky game interlaced into them. And if you have literally nothing to do on a Friday night with your friends, you can always go on a tour of some of our haunted locales. Graveyards, abandoned buildings, creepy forests, you name it. So with that background established, let's get back to tonight. Me and my closest 3 pals decide to try our hand at using a Ouija board. Were we gonna be normal and try the Ouija board in one of our family attics? Too basic. We instead decided to trek up together to what, I shit you not, is an abandoned tree house left in an elevated section of our city surrounded by forests. What could go wrong, right? We climbed up to the treehouse, sat down a spooky-themed rug, lit some candles, and brought out the Ouija board. Despite my pretty extensive resume of dealing with all things creepy, I'd never actually tried a Ouija board before, so I was really excited to see what would happen. We went into excited to break every rule in the book. We weren't gonna do a seance, we were gonna ask whatever we want, and we didn't need to worry about being respectful to the spirits, etc. We figured if something interesting were to happen, it'd be more likely if we went in as carefree as possible. Uh-oh. We sat in a circle around the Ouija board and got started, asking the simple question, is there a spirit with us? With all of our hands placed on the planchette. No real response. We fluttered the planchette in a few different directions, but we could kind of tell we were forcing it. We asked a few other questions. What is your name? When did you die? Etc. But nothing really came of it. After trying for the next half hour and not really getting anything in the form of response, we decided that we probably didn't have any spooky luck tonight and just opted instead to share scary stories in the treehouse. We left the Ouija board out though in case we get luckier later in the night. Amidst our break in the storytelling where everyone was grabbing drinks and snacks from their bags, I decided to give the Ouija board another quick go. I placed my hand on the planchette alone and whispered the following question. Will you please grace us with your presence tonight? Surprisingly, the planchette started moving. It's hard to explain, but you kind of know when something is moving on its own, versus you sort of subtly and subconsciously moving it with your hand to force an answer. This felt real. A tingle went up my spine. It was cool as hell. My hand was moved to the following letters. Y-E-S. Awesome! I looked over to the group and told them that the Ouija board was working again. Excitedly, we all huddled around and placed our hands on the planchette. I followed up with another question. Where are you from? We sat there excitedly waiting for something. Instead, nothing. The planchette was still. The lack of any sort of external force of us was very, very obvious. Disappointing, but I had an idea I wanted to follow up with. I turned to my friend Kevin and asked him, do you want to try doing it solo? It worked for me. Kevin was confused. Kevin? 𝐒𝐤𝐚𝐥 Kevin Lee? Kevin was confused, but he decided to give it a try. We all backed up to give him some space with the Ouija board. He placed his hand on the planchette and repeated my question. Where are you from? His expression changed to shock as his hand started moving with the planchette. He turned to all of us and mouthed, I'm not doing this! To which I excitedly mouthed back, I know! I pulled out the notepad and recorded the answer as the planchette went from letter to letter. I recorded the following. Not important. Love it! A spirit with some sass. I asked Kev to back up for a second as I approached the Ouija board, prepped for one final solo question. I asked, why are you only responding when it's one of us using the board? Yet again, the planchette moved effortlessly with my hand. It was faster this time, so I said the letters out loud and had another one of my friends transcribe onto my notepad. The answer was, one at a time. Fair enough. I thanked the spirit, my hand still on the planchette. I appreciate your answers, friend. To my surprise, in a strange synergy between me and the spirit, I felt compelled to move the planchette again. It was the fastest it had ever been this time as it covered the following letters. Tell everyone else to leave. Huh. My friends looked at me skeptically as I said the letters one at a time. Are you sure you just didn't force that on purpose? Asked another of my friends, Eleonora. I assured her I definitely didn't. That was definitely from the spirit. At this point, this had been the most clearly supernatural phenomena I had ever experienced in my life, and I was excited to keep it going. My friends, usually unflinching and made of ice, were a bit thrown. Eleonora and Martin looked ever so slightly spooked, but Kev was willing to go with it. Might as well see where this goes, Kev said as he started climbing down from the treehouse. With a slight bit of hesitation, Eleonora and Martin followed suit. Sweet, an actually creepy night. I embraced the quiet amidst the lighting of the candles and the power of the Ouija board. I geared up for my next question. I wasn't going to hold back. Spirit, how will I die? I took in a deep breath, waiting for some movement. Slowly... Depends. Interesting answer, if not a bit underwhelming. I geared up for my follow-up. Oh, come on, Spirit. What about something a bit more specific? My hand moved to the planchette to the following letters. I tried hard to focus and connect the letters since I didn't have anyone else to transcribe with me. What is your name? Weird. Completely dodged my question and asked me my name. Okay, all-knowing Spirit, I assumed you already know that. I decided to try tricking it. My name is Belle. Movement from the planchette on the Ouija board. It took me to the letters. Do not lie. Well played, Spirit. I gave the spirit my actual name, Jennifer, and continued to see the follow-up response. What is your favorite food? Honoring the spirit's rules, I opted to tell the truth instead of following up with another lie. Your girl loves Donair, and the spirit deserves to know that. What is Donair? The Ouija board's response. Correct. Before I could take the affirmation from the spirit, it followed up with yet another question. What is your biggest fear? Do not lie. This question took me back a bit. I wasn't really afraid of anything, or so I thought. It took me a few moments. I really thought of it. I kind of cringed at the answer, but it was my truth. Something horrible happened to my little brother. No movement from the Ouija board. Seconds turned into minutes as I kept my hand awkwardly placed on the planchette. Then finally... Thank you. Send Eleonora. Well, I obliged. I thanked the spirit for its time, and we decided to climb down from the treehouse, where my friends were waiting. I passed on the spirit's message and told Eleonora it was her turn. Yeah, they're asking for security questions. What is your mother's maiden name? Do not lie. Martin, Kev, and I spent what must have been 15 minutes standing outside the treehouse while Eleonora was up there. We pulled drinks out of their bags and were discussing my experience of the Ouija board so far. Both were incredibly surprised when I told them that the spirit was asking me questions. What kinds of questions? Well, generic stuff like my name, favorite food, etc. I answered. Huh, weird. Both Kev and Martin seemed a bit thrown off by it, but I was excited. We looked up to the treehouse as we heard the sounds of someone climbing down. Eleonora had finished her session. She looked traumatized. How was it? I asked her. Weird. All it did was ask me questions. Questions like... Kevin asked her. My name? My favorite hobby? My, biggest fear? That one took me a while to answer. These are just security questions, aren't they? Kev turned to me. This is a bit eerie, he said. I agreed. Didn't look like Eleanor was loving it either, but still, a spirit asking us questions? This had been one of the coolest, if not the coolest, paranormal experiences I'd ever experienced in my life. Eleanor turned to Martin. It said that you were up next. Martin's session seemed longer than the others. We stood outside, drinking, talking about the happenings so far, and pulling out the occasional snack. That was a little bit traumatizing, said Eleanor. Kevin pointed to her and then up to the treehouse. Agreed, this is kinda messed up, he said. Yeah, but that's the point, I responded. We seek out spooky happenings all the time and we never get lucky, but this is an actual, legit, supernatural experience. I feel like we have to take advantage of it. Even if it's asking us personal stuff? What does it want this info for? Followed up Eleanor. I shrugged. While the biggest fear question was pretty weird, I didn't feel too worried that a spirit knew my favorite food or what my name was. Our conversation was interrupted by the sound of someone climbing down the treehouse. Martin had finished up his session. It felt like it'd been 30 minutes, which topped the rest of our sessions. We bombarded Martin with questions as he reached the ground. He looked way more shell-shocked than Eleanor did. That was pretty fucked up, he started. What did it ask you? I asked enthusiastically. My biggest fear, Martin responded. It's weird, but it felt like it didn't like my answer to that one. It almost seemed annoyed. Huh, so it was just silent for a while after that? I asked. No, it asked me way more things after that. What the happiest moments of my life was, who I was the most jealous of, what my biggest life dream was, all that stuff. It was a lot of questions. Then, finally, it just wrapped up with, thank you, and that was that. Martin turned to Kevin. You're up next. Kevin turned to all of us. Here goes nothing, he sighed and started climbing up to the treehouse. We watched him make his way to the top. For the first time in the evening, I had a knot in my stomach. Only 5 minutes had passed since Kevin first went up, but he was already climbing down. He was shaking his head as he made his way down the ladder and to our group. Fuck that, said Kevin. What happened? We asked him. He just shook his head. That shit is dangerous. We need to get the fuck out of here, ASAP. I'd never seen Kevin like this. He was uncharacteristically shook. You have to tell us more. What did it ask you? What did it say? But Kevin ignored all of our questions. He started packing up his bag. You guys can play with fire all you want, but I'm out of here. I suggest you guys come too, he said. I watched as Martin and Eleanor started packing up as well. I had bad feelings throughout this whole thing. I think we should leave, said Martin. Guys, what the hell? Just because it's unsettling doesn't mean we have to pack up. We can just hang out up there and do something else, I said back. This doesn't feel right, said Eleanor. I watched them as they all took a few steps away from the treehouse and towards the forest. You coming? Asked Kevin. I stood my ground. Kevin just shook his head and started heading out on his way. Suit yourself. I had no idea what could have possibly happened up there that would have shook him this much. He had already started walking as Martin and Eleanor pleaded with me to come with them, but I said no. Begrudgingly, they all left. You're probably wondering, wasn't I scared? Especially now that I was alone? The answer was yes, but something in my soul told me that I was up next. I'd spent my whole life waiting for something that was truly supernatural to happen, and now that it was in front of me, with my fingers jittering, I climbed up to the treehouse as my friends departed. It took me a moment to pull together the bravery to put my hand on the planchette. The candles were still lit. The setting was just right. Finally, I spoke to the spirit again. Why are you asking us all these questions? Nothing for a few moments. Then, my hand moved with the planchette, slower than usual. The answer? To confirm my suspicions. Confirm your suspicions of what? Movement from the planchette on the Ouija board. One of you is not who you say you are. What are you talking about? I heard blood-curdling shrieks coming out from the forest outside the treehouse, like nothing I'd heard before. What the fuck? The planchette was moving on its own now. I watched it go from letter to letter. That is not Kevin. He is coming back for you. Run! And so I did. The small section of the city I live in is generally known to be haunted. I think I know why. It's time for me to leave. Kevin, the imposter! He's the imposter! He was the imposter all along! This doesn't mean we're getting our merch. Yeah. Kevin's too busy going into the forest and eating people. Yeah, Skinwalker. Yeah, Spirit. The Spirit was a good guy all along. Yeah, Spirit was trying to help us. That was clearly not Kevin. It's a fish in a suit. So that was I'm just gonna call it Kevin the Skinwalker. Kevin the Skinwalker. By the same person actually. From World Away Tweedy on r/NoSleep. Pretty good. Okay. This next one is called The Strangest Security Tape I've Ever Seen. This is from Creepypasta Wiki. Damn. I thought the twist was that they were gonna be ghosts. I know, right? I thought like maybe like the spirit was communicating them because they were already dead or something. Okay. Next one. I work at a gas station in rural Pennsylvania. It's a boring job, but it's pretty easy and it pays alright. A few weeks ago, this new guy started. I'll call him Jeremy. Jeremy is weird. He's about 25 or 26 and he hardly speaks, but he's got the creepiest laugh I've ever heard. My boss and I have both noticed this, but it's never been a problem, so there's not much we can do about it. Customers have never complained about him, and he's always done his job fairly well. Up until a few weeks ago anyways. That's when things started going missing. Employee theft can be a problem at any business that sells consumer goods, and there's only one person working at a time at this gas station, since it's a pretty small place. About 2 weeks ago, my boss started noticing that we were short on motor oil. At first, it was a few containers at a time. Then, entire shelves and boxes from the back room. Oh my god, he's drinking the motor oil! Pretty soon, entire shipments would be gone the day after we got them, and it would always be right after Jeremy's shifts. My boss has checked the security camera tapes from every single night since he worked, but he could never catch him in the act. Jeremy would lock up at closing, then the motor oil would be gone the next day. My boss usually takes the tapes home with him to try and catch Jeremy stealing, but his daughter had a softball game last night, so he asked me to watch the tape for him. He offered to pay me overtime under the table, so obviously I took that offer. Nepotism. There are 3 cameras, so he gave me 3 different tapes to check. I figured it'd be a long night, but I'm trying to save up for vacation, so I really needed the money. I took the tapes home, popped them in an old VCR, and sat back. 2 days ago, which was the last time he worked, Jeremy started at 4 p.m. Everything seemed pretty normal at first. He counted up his drawers, switched off with the girl who was working before him, and waited for a customer. The first person who came in was Mrs. Templeton. The timestamp on the video read 4:03, a regular. She picked up her cigarettes and a newspaper and paid with a 20. Nothing unusual there. The next customer was some local guy named Ron. He drives a motorcycle, usually comes in every few days. He filled up his tank, got a bag of beef jerky, paid with his credit card, and then left. Next was some guy with a cowboy hat. Yeehaw! I'd never seen him before, but we got plenty of strangers passing through just like at any gas station. He got $40 worth of diesel fuel, paid with a $100 bill, and went on his day. I sat back inside. The only thing more boring than doing this job is watching someone else do it. You're a Marabou Shoei. Don't worry about it. My boss's offer was enough to keep me watching though, so I left the tape on. Everything seemed pretty normal. I had a feeling that if Jeremy was stealing motor oil, he knew we were suspicious of him by now. I didn't expect him to be dumb enough to let us catch him on camera. Things stayed boring and routine until about 5 o'clock. At 5:03, Mrs. Templeton came back in. She must have forgotten something. But she didn't. She bought the same pack of cigarettes as before and the same newspaper. She paid with another 20. That's odd, but then again, she's a little absent-minded. I thought Jeremy should have told her she already got her smokes, but it's not against the rules to sell somebody the same thing twice. That's when Ron came in again. He bought another tank of gas for his motorcycle again. I later checked the outdoor camera because I thought maybe he had another car he wanted to fill out, and got the same pack of beef jerky. He paid with his credit card again. No big deal. I thought this was just a weird coincidence. Mrs. Templeton is forgetful, and Ron probably owns more than one Harley. That's when the guy in the cowboy hat came back in. I felt a chill run down my spine. Don't get diesel. Don't get diesel. I found myself whispering to my empty living room. But he did. He got $40 worth of diesel fuel and paid with another $100 bill. Every move he made was identical to his first visit, right down to the way he scratched his nose before he walked out. Either this guy is rich, owns a lot of trucks, and just moved into town or something, or something really bizarre was happening. I kept watching. Every customer for the next hour was the same as before. Every single one. I was seriously freaked out, and then at 6:03, Mrs. Templeton walked back in. She bought her cigarettes and newspaper again and paid with a 20 again. I thought I was gonna lose it. I only watched another half hour before I started fast-forwarding through the rest. It was all the same. Every customer would come in at the exact same times, exactly 1 hour apart. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sneaky motherfucker Jeremy had messed with the tapes. He had run a loop of his first hour of business over and over. That wasn't the case. There are windows around the cash register area that the camera covers, and I watched the sunlight fade as time ran on. Jeremy's routine didn't loop over. He swept, mopped, restocked, and did his duties exactly how you would expect. But the same customers kept coming in. I was panicking at this point. Something was seriously wrong with what I was seeing, and I had no explanation for it. I skipped ahead to when he locked up and walked out to his car. He hadn't stolen anything, but I kept watching just to make sure. I fast-forwarded one last time to about midnight. At exactly 12:03, out of nowhere, Jeremy's face pops up on camera. I don't mean he moved his head into view, I mean that 1 second the store is empty, the next second his face was all I could see. He wasn't looking at the camera, he was looking at me, I was sure of it. I screamed and fumbled for the remote. By the time I grabbed it, he was gone, just as soon as he had left. One frame he was there, the next he wasn't. My hands were shaking like crazy, but I popped in another tape. The other indoor camera shows the back area by the cash register, and I would be able to see how he got up to put his face in the camera like that. I skipped ahead to 12:03, but nothing. I would have been able to see him standing on a chair or something on this tape, but he wasn't there. I didn't see him enter the store at all after he'd left. It's like he wasn't really there. He doesn't know the security code, and no alarms were triggered that night after he locked up. What I did see, however, was that at 12:03, the motor oil just vanished off the shelf. All of it. Same as Jeremy's face. 1 second it was there, and the next it wasn't. I turned that tape off and went to bed, but I didn't get a wink of sleep. My body is exhausted right now, but my mind is racing. That tape was undoubtedly the creepiest, most disturbing thing I'd ever seen in my life. I work in a few hours. My boss asked me to bring the tapes in and let him know what I found, but really, what the hell am I gonna say? Jeremy works a night shift tonight directly after me, and the plan is for my boss to come in just before I leave and confront him with me, as I'm supposed to be the one who caught him stealing. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I suppose I'll have to show my boss the tapes, but I don't want to watch them with him. I never want to see something like that ever again. I just can't get the image of Jeremy smiling directly into the camera out of my mind. It was the creepiest look I've ever seen on another human being's face. Anyways, I'm going to try to get some last-minute sleep before I have to go in and deal with this. I'll let you know what happens. Update, 2:49 p.m. Updating from my phone. Apologies in advance for errors. My boss just finished watching the last of the tape. I told him what to expect, but you really can't prepare someone for something like that. He's scared shitless. I still am too, and... Sorry, this is making me eepy. And Jeremy is due to come in at 4. We've got a little over an hour to get our shit together, but neither one of us knows what to say to him. Is he just a fucked up guy who likes to steal motor oil and scare the shit out of people, or is he something else? I don't know if this is crazy, but does anyone think that he could have anything to do with the time loop? My boss said he never noticed anything like that in the other tapes, but the way he popped up in this one made me think he knew I would be watching. It's like he wanted me to see what he could do. Like he was showing off or something. The way he smiled into the camera was like a little kid showing you a sandcastle they just built or something. I don't know, I probably sound crazy. I sure feel the part. I'm gonna talk to my boss some more. We have to calm ourselves down and figure out how to handle this. I'll update again tonight, but I have a really bad feeling of how this is gonna play out. Update, 4:33 p.m. No sign of Jeremy. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update, 5:33 p.m. No sign of Jeremy. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update, 6:33 p.m. No sign of Jeremy. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update, 7:33 p.m. No sign of Jeremy. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update, 8:33 p.m. No sign of Jeremy. Try calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update, 10:58 p.m. Holy shit. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. I just got home and saw my previous updates. Things make less sense now than ever. Here's what I can tell you. I went to work. Jeremy never showed up. My boss and I decided to call the police, as I'm sure you're all well aware of by now. When I picked up the phone to call, though, the sun went out. I shit you not, that's what I thought had happened. Apparently, I blacked out for exactly 5 hours, because when I looked at the clock, it was 9:33. I think I got stuck in Jeremy's time loop, and then I snapped out of it at the exact point I blacked out, if that makes sense. But that's when things got really weird. My boss was right next to me when I blacked out, ready to corroborate my story to the cops. When I came to, my phone was in my hand, but it was dead. Not even a dial tone. My boss was still right there, but he wasn't moving. He was standing up, but frozen. I looked at the clock again and it wasn't moving. The second hand was stuck on the 12. It was 9:33 exactly. The clock on the register on the computer screen wasn't moving either. My phone was frozen. There was even a customer at the register waiting for my boss to get him cigarettes. I'm betting that would have been his 5th pack of the day. I got the fuck up there. Didn't lock up, didn't turn the lights out, and sorry guys, I didn't grab the security tapes to upload on the internet. Believe me, that was the last thing on my mind. The gas station is on a major highway, and cars were parked all along it, except they weren't parked, they were frozen. The people inside were sitting still as wax statues. I got in my car and prayed that it would start. Thankfully, it did. About halfway home, time started up again. The static from the radio turned into music like it's supposed to be, and from what I could tell by listening to the host talk in between songs, nobody noticed the time freeze or whatever it was. I was the only one. Well, I'm sure Jeremy knows this well. I still have no clue where he is or what he's doing. I'm hiding in my room and calling the police again in the morning. I don't know if I ever got them to them before, but if I did, whether they took me seriously. I'm scared for my life at this point. I'll update tomorrow if I can. Do you really think the cops would help you? You think the cops can help you with this? Final update, 10:33 a.m. I finally fell asleep last night around 4. I have no idea how I did it, but I guess exhaustion finally got the best of me. This morning, I woke up to my phone ringing. It was my boss. He'd been calling me about since 6. He woke up when time turned back on last night and immediately called the cops. They came by to see what was wrong, and he told them everything. The police around here are all small-time guys. They were more concerned with the missing motor oil or anything, but my boss figured he would take it as long as he had their attention. They decided to go looking for Jeremy. We keep all our employees' applications on file, and since Jeremy's just started working here, his was easy to find. They checked the address on it and headed over to his house, and you're not gonna believe what they found. The address Jeremy listed on his application was an empty lot. Or, at least now it is. There used to be a house there, but it burnt down in 1993. Being a small town, almost everyone remembers that fire. A family of 4 used to live there way back when. Rumor has it that they had an estranged son who they never really talked about, but I can't say for sure if that's true. What I can say is sure that after an insurance investigation, the fire was ruled an arson. The entire house was soaked in oil and torched with a Molotov cocktail. The entire family was sleeping when it happened. None of them survived. They never caught the guy that did it. Rumor has it that when they tried to contact the estranged son, no one could find him. Anyway, my boss called me and told me this and I freaked out. Then he asked me to come to the gas station. "What are you, crazy?" I said, but he assured me that the cops were there with him. Then he dropped a bomb. The FBI were also in town and that they were going to talk to me one way or another, so we might as well come in. It was about 7:15 and I wanted to go back to bed, but I figured I wouldn't be able to sleep much more anyway, so I just went down. 4 men in suits greeted me and told me to have a seat. We went through everything 2 or 3 times until they got all the details down. I told them about Jeremy, the security tape, last night at work, everything. Finally, after I finished, one of the agents said, "Oh Christ, we've got another one on our hands." Then, they made me sign a bunch of papers saying I wouldn't tell anyone about what happened. I might be breaking the law just by posting this. So now I'm home. I'm not sure what to do with myself. The agent's words when I told him the story are going to haunt me for the rest of my life. Anyways, I've got to go. I have some errands to run today, and then I have to go into work to pick up some tapes. My boss and I think this new guy, Jeremy, he's a complete creep, is stealing motor oil, and I have to watch the security footage to see if I can catch him doing it. I have better things to do, but my boss is paying me overtime under the table, and I'm trying to save up for vacation so I could really use the money. It should be pretty simple. The oil always goes missing right after his shifts. I figure I just watch the tapes, catch him in the act, and that will be that. And that was the strangest security tape I'd ever seen. Moral of the story, drinking motor oil gives you Time Lord powers. Can you say arson again? Arson? Why? Am I pronouncing it wrong? Huh? Arson? 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 Like the R? Wait, what? You said differently earlier? What did I say? Arson? Arson? I don't know. Are you winning, son? Our son. Wait. You mean to tell me you've been pregnant all this time? And you didn't tell me? Now I have to take responsibility. Now I have to take responsibility. Oh my god, I'm gonna be a father. I'm gonna be a father. Wait, unless you're saying I'm pregnant? Wait a second. Wait a second. Pregnant? We're all pregnant. Oh god. That sounds like a nightmare. Prego routes. What? There are different routes? Okay, let's see. What should we read next? Let me reload this. Now I know Punka Lopi? I do! I love Lopi. She's very sweet. She's very, very lovely. Let's see. And then everyone got pregnant. The end. You can get through all the submissions. Now some of them are quite long, and I'm just reading the ones that I find interesting. Okay. There's quite a short one over here. There's no title. This is just I'm gonna title this Why I Sleep with the Lights On. Why I sleep with the lights on? I sleep with the lights on. During my youth, I was used to staying awake with the lights turned off all around me. It wasn't the darkness that gave me comfort, but it was simply easier to hide the fact that you were still awake during the late hours of the night. As I grew older, I've started being unable to sleep with the lights on. It was mostly due to horror movies that I would watch during the day. I don't like sudden sounds, and they always get me even when I'm not looking. At night, paranoia sets in and causes my mind to wander and think of the occult. It still happens now. However, in the recent years, I have been unable to sleep when I am aware that all the lights are off. The moment I fall asleep, I start to enter a lucid state where I think what's happening is real. The first time it happened, I saw my grandfather standing by my bedside, watching over me as I wake up. Slowly, I realized that I can't move my body. Eventually, it turns into this dreaded sensation as the stairs start to feel heavier and the urge to move even a single finger makes me lose my mind. After forcing myself to think that it was just a dream, I woke up, but that feeling of being helpless never left my mind and body. I stood up to turn on the lights, and I still couldn't sleep until it was morning again. It was my first experience of sleep paralysis. This was on November 2nd, more commonly known for my people as All Souls Day. Every year, all the family members go to honor those that have passed. I previously refused to visit the graveyard where our relatives were buried, and it seemed like a sign. Since then, whenever I slept with the lights off, a different person would visit me. Each encounter being worse than the last. The most recent memory was of me in bed talking to my sister at the doorway, next to the light switch. The room was dark, but there was illumination from the hallway. When I looked to the corner of the room, I saw a figure standing there. I immediately told my sister to turn on the lights. The moment I did that, the realization that I was experiencing another episode haunted me. I tried to move my body, but I couldn't. The figure was approaching closer and closer until it eventually grabbed onto my leg, trying to crawl up to me. My sister, who had long since become a shadow in my eyes, was just looking at me. I was panicking and kept on convincing myself that it was just a dream. I could feel my fingers slowly reacting to my urges and eventually my arm. When I could finally move, I woke up in the same position. I stood up, turned on the lights, and used the computer until it was the afternoon when I managed to sleep again. I haven't had an episode lately, but I still refuse to sleep with the lights off. Ooh. I now suddenly have an urge to get... Yeah, like, you want to find out what's happening, right? You want to find out what's happening. Interesting. Oh, here's a good one. The cell phone game. Let's see how long this one is. I feel like I remember this one. Never mind, I think it's kind of long. These stories are too spoopy for me. I'm quaking in my boots. Quaking in your booties. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see. Okay, we can read this one. This one is not too long as well. I think I'll probably read like... I'm actually getting like... I don't know why. I have a really bad headache, but like for some reason reading these stories is like making me feel really sleepy. It's making me really sleepy. Let's read like maybe like two more. Maybe two more. The Cuckoo Conundrum. These stories boring? It's not that it's boring me, but for some reason, like, reading stories aloud is making me, like, super sleepy. The fire's too comfy. Yeah. How are you guys feeling? Are you feeling comfy? Spoopy? Nani? cuckoo conundrum is such a silly... Yeah. Cozy? This is some cozy spoopy. Actually, yeah, I kind of want to take a nap after this as well. Okay. Anyways, let's start. Let me be perfectly blunt here. I am going to ask you a question at the end of all this. It is a difficult question to answer, but I wouldn't be asking you all this if it was something that I could easily answer myself. I need you to answer me. I honestly don't know what to do. But before I get ahead of myself, let me give you the whole story. After college, I moved away from home. I moved over 20 hours away to another state, over 1,000 miles away from my closest family member. I didn't do this because my relationship with my family was in any way strained. It was quite the opposite, actually. They have been nothing but supportive and caring of my decisions and choices. I think the reasons behind my decision for the change in scenery were really because I wanted to feel independent. I'm not proud to admit it, but living so close to my family, I felt coddled. I wanted to accomplish something that I felt wasn't handed to me on a silver platter. It was with that foolish thought that I packed up all my things and left. The first few years went by without much problem. I found a nice cheap apartment and a well-paying job. I kept in contact with my family and settled into my life. It wasn't until the milestones in their lives started rolling around that I began to feel isolated. My brother graduated from college and I couldn't attend because I was working. My mother and father celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary, and I wasn't able to congratulate them at a celebratory dinner because I was thousands of miles away. I think the real final straw that proved too much for the camel's back was my sister's pregnancy and the birth of my nephew. I was working when I got the text. I don't think it was the fact that I got the good news a few hours later than most. I think it was the fact that I received a text and not a call. It felt impersonal. It was like uploading some life news onto Facebook as opposed to calling someone and letting them know personally. For the first time, I really felt left out and excluded from the family. This was the moment where I truly began to wonder if I had made the right choice in deciding to move so far away from my family. One of the gifts my sister received during her baby shower was a baby monitor we all chipped in on. It was top of the line. The thing even had a webcam built into it. With the correct password, you could get a live feed of the nursery. I wasn't a big fan of the concept, but my sister was extremely enthused about the prospect of being able to share these moments with our family and friends. Within the first couple of weeks of the baby's birth, the password had been circulated to all of our family and close friends. Also, like anyone can access the live feed of the baby as long as they have the password. He got his sister... No! This is not the coffin of Andy and Lele. I never really used the password to look at the live feed for the first couple of months. My sister inundated us with enough cute photos, videos, and stories that I didn't feel like it was necessary. Some part of me still saw the concept of putting a streaming feed from the webcam on the internet as slightly distressing. I didn't really like the idea of looking in on my sister and husband trying to calm their fussy baby in the middle of the night, and I liked the idea less that someone else might stumble across the feed and be looking into their home without their permission. To me, it felt like some sort of violation of their privacy. Like I said, for the first few months, I didn't use the webcam feature of the baby monitor. It wasn't until I started to have a rough patch at work that I began to get more pensive about my life choices up until that moment. I also started to have some pretty severe bouts of insomnia. After a couple weeks of tossing and turning for hours on end, I relented and went to see a doctor. The doctor ran a few tests but came with no real reasonable explanation. I slowly found myself becoming... Are we back? Are we back? Stream dead for a second. Stream, please. Okay, we're back. Let's go. Where were we? Here. Okay. The last thing I said was, it was around this time that I started checking in on the live feed. At first, I tried to use my sleepless nights to be productive. I read books, watched classic movies, and did other things that I typically couldn't find the time to for my day-to-day life. Membership gift, thank you! Nice gift. After a few weeks, I had read the books and seen the movies I wanted to and now had very little to do. At 3 or 4 in the morning, you'd be surprised how little there is to do. All my friends had gone to bed and there was no one to talk to. It was during these bouts of insomnia that I began checking out the feed. This may seem like an odd thing to say, but watching something so small and precious sleeping so contently can really put your mind at ease. Where was I? Oh, the problems I was facing at work and my sense of isolation from my family began to drift away as I watched that little bundle sleeping so peacefully. It became a staple of my late nights when I was up and couldn't sleep. I would listen to music, read a little, and check in on my nephew. A few times I even managed to drift off in front of the computer while watching the webcam feed. I can't tell you when I first saw the thing. I think it was about after a month of dealing with my inability to sleep. It was a night like any other. I got off work, watched some movie on the TV, and turned on the feed. It must have been an hour or so later when I was drifting off that night that I saw it. The baby was sleeping soundly. The webcam was placed at the head of the cradle so you could see inside the cradle and a bit of the wall. There was no sound on the webcam, but the baby shifted slightly, as if something had disturbed his sleep. It was only there for a split second, long enough to register but short enough to be passed off as a trick of the eyes. I could have sworn that I saw a head poke up and look through the bars of the cradle before dropping below the line of sight of the camera. It was only for half a second, and I was in the midst of drifting off when that happened. I rubbed the sleep out of my eyes and focused on the screen for the next 10 minutes, trying to catch a glimpse of whatever I had seen before, but nothing happened or came into view other than the sleeping child. I scanned the screen for a couple more minutes, unsure of what I had seen. In the end, I just chalked it all up to a trick of the mind and went to the bed. By the time I woke up the next morning, I was certain that what I had thought I'd seen was nothing more than my sleep-deprived brain messing with me after a long day. I went about my day as usual, ate something small, went to work, and came home late. I am fairly certain that the stress I was experiencing at work was what contributed to my inability to sleep at night. I signed onto the webcam and watched the feed. I thought for a moment what I had thought I'd seen last night, but I brushed it off. I didn't think about what I'd seen that night until about a week later, where it made a reappearance. I had been out drinking with some friends from work. We drank a little more than we should have, but luckily the bar was within walking distance of my place. I drunkenly stumbled home and sat down in front of my computer. I wasn't ready for bed yet. Frankly, the idea of laying in bed and feeling the world shift and tilt around me wasn't a very appealing prospect. I checked my email and, without putting too much thought into it, I signed into the baby monitor feed. It was then that I caught my first true sight of the thing. The camera flicked on just as it was crawling across the wall opposite the baby's crib. It was a small ashen-colored thing. Its limbs were spindly and terminated in a weird mass of follicles, which it used to adhere to the wall. It moved slow, as if wary not to make any sounds. It was about 3 feet long, and its skin, if you could call it that, looked smooth, but on its torso it had bumpy, ribbed protrusions. I think the most elegant way I could describe it was that the thing looked like something that would creep around in one of 𝐃𝐨𝐧𝐚𝐭𝐢𝐴ₐ𝐻 wet dreams. I'm assuming that's a author or something. I immediately panicked and called my sister. There was something in the baby's room. I watched on screen as the thing swiveled its head in the direction of my sister's room. It must have heard what I could not from the feed, the cell phone ringing. It skittered across the wall and vanished off screen. My sister groggily answered her phone, nonplussed about being woken up once the baby had successfully been put to bed. 𝐻𝐴𝐧𝐚 designed the xenomorph. Nice. Segs. A xenomorph? Alright, hear me out. Hear me out, chat. Listen. I'm not saying anything, but... would. Yeah, we'll save that for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the monster fucker tier list. We'll save that for tomorrow. She immediately knew I was drunk by the slurring of my words and was about to hang up when she caught my words. Something is in the baby's room. I heard her shaking her husband up and sending him down to check. I had her hand him the phone before he went to check. I watched as the door creaked open on the webcam feed. I told him to look around the wall or possibly under the crib. He checked but found no trace of anything. When I asked him if there was anything near the foot of the crib, he shrugged and told me that there was a vent, but seemed hesitant to believe that there could be anything there. My brother-in-law put my sister back in line, who now seemed aggravated at having been woken up so late at night. I lied and told her that I was certain I'd seen a rat crawling near the crib. I had to lie to her. If I told her the truth, she would think I had gone off my rocker. She agreed to find some way to seal off the vent in case there was a rodent. I spent the rest of the night watching the baby sleep. The thing didn't make another appearance that night either. I decided... A vent! Oh my god, it vented! That's sus! I decided that my only recourse was to catch the thing in the act and get some photographic evidence. That was the only way I could get them to believe me and possibly get my nephew to safety. As it was the weekend, I had a little more freedom in my schedule. I slept during the day and stayed up at night so I could monitor the baby. I kept my phone right next to me and my fingers were on the keyboard so I could take a screenshot the instant that thing made an appearance. I spent a few nights watching the baby monitor without any strange occurrences. The weekend passed by, and I took a day off work so I could stay vigilant. The thing didn't show up that night either. I took the next day off, much to my boss's chagrin. I saw nothing that night either. When I called again to take another day off to sleep, my boss fired me. It doesn't matter. I would catch that thing and keep my nephew safe. I started to doubt my sanity after a few more nights. Had I really seen something, or was I having some sort of mental breakdown? Was I coming apart at the seams? I didn't spend a lot of time doubting myself before the fiend made its final appearance. To be honest, I wish I could have spent the rest of my life doubting my sanity, as opposed to having my sanity reaffirmed by the grotesque reappearance of that fiend. I was struggling to stay awake. It was around 4 o'clock in the morning when the fiend appeared. I watched in shock as its slender, spider-esque limb came through view of the bars of the baby cradle. It hoisted itself on the rim of the cradle and stared at the sleeping form of my nephew. I was unable to look away from it. Its face was similar to humans, but it was lacking a nose and appeared more tapered. Voldemort! My macabre fascination was broken down the second it skittered down into the cradle with my nephew. I grabbed my cell phone and frantically looked at my sister's number. I selected call and looked back up at the screen. Now it was poised over my nephew like a spider waiting to descend on something caught in its web. The phone was ringing. Its appendages worked and worried at its chest. The membrane tore and slowed off, exposing a pulsating mass underneath. Why wasn't she answering? I saw something in the fiend's chest worming and writhing its way free. Just before it dropped down onto my nephew, I realized why my sister wasn't answering. She had muted her phone so she could get a full night's sleep. The worm freed itself from the fiend's chest cavity and dropped onto my nephew's chest. He awoke and started to squall, but it was too late. The larval mass had been looking for an opening and found it. My nephew screamed and shrieked as the worm worked its way into his mouth and slid down his esophagus. The fiend looked up and, for a split second, its eyes met with mine through the webcam, and in that singular moment, I had never felt so impotent in my life. I could only watch as it skittered away and left my nephew ridden and struggling against the conquering worm. The thing vanished off the screen just as the door to the bedroom opened. My sister appeared in the room. She had heard the crying and come to check on the baby. I watched as she lifted it out of its crib and held it to her. I couldn't hear her, but I knew that she was singing to it. I could only watch as she tried to calm down. Welcome, Raiders! Hello, Sawa. We are reading out some creepy pastas, some spooky stories. Yeah, now we gotta destroy the child. Throw the whole thing away! Just throw the whole child away. Start another one. Make another one. I had failed my nephew. I couldn't save him from that thing. It had implanted something into him, and I didn't know what that worm-like thing was, and I doubt I want to know. In the heat of the moment, I had failed to take a screenshot and capture photographic evidence of that thing. I had failed my sister. I wanted to protect her against that thing. I had failed. You had one job. You had one fucking job, my guy. After losing my job, I had no other choice but to move back close to my family. My dad pulled some strings and got me some work. Nepotism. I managed to live with some friends for a while before getting my own place. A few months passed and I slipped back into denial. It was much easier to deny what had happened than confronting it, and it took some time, but eventually I was able to allocate that horrible night down into the deepest, darkest chambers of my mind. I convinced myself that I had mental breakdown, hallucinated, and lost my job. A few weeks passed and the lie I told myself eventually became the truth. At least to me, at least. My nephew continues to grow. He's 2 years old now, and appears to be perfectly healthy. He's adorable. In the moments that I was unable to convince myself that I had been hallucinating that night, I took solace in knowing that at least that larval-looking thing hadn't had any negative effects on him. I use past tense here because that is no longer true. It all came to a head when my sister dropped my nephew with me for a couple hours while she went to relax and had a bit of a spa day. Babies are always spooky, true. It was then, while we were face to face, that it happened. He blinked, and a nictitating membrane slid across his eye. The almost amphibian, horrendous haw drew across his eye, and I could have sworn I saw something sliding and displacing the skin around his chest. It had looked like he'd had a snake slithering around his skin, burrowing around in his flesh. I have spent the past few hours typing this, and the whole time, I can only think of the common cuckoo. See? You see, the common cuckoo rarely raises its own. It instead opts to slip into another bird's nest and lay its egg. Once it hatches, the infant cuckoo knocks its surrogate brothers and sisters out of the nest, and the unsuspecting surrogate parents are left to feed and sustain the invading imposter. I can now only think of how that thing has, in its sense, laid its egg and left my sister and her husband to take care of its progeny. Now onto the question I need to ask you. I have spent the past couple of hours thinking about what to do with the changeling. It is not my sister's child, not anymore. It is not my nephew. It is the thing that happened. The thing that killed my nephew. The thing that will grow up to implant and kill other people's children. Jesus, I can't believe I'm typing this. Do I have to kill it? Don't I? I can't let it reach maturity and propagate more of its friendish ilk. Who knows how many of these creatures are out there doing this atrocious thing to other families, imitating the lives they have stolen to sustain themselves. Now onto the question I have to ask you. Am I crazy? Crazy? I was crazy once. This can't be real. There's no way in hell something like this can happen. Please tell me I have snapped. Please tell me that all of this is a product of my demented mind and that I have completely lost it. Please tell me I don't have to do what I am thinking of doing with this pillow that's right next to me. Please don't tell me I have to smother my nephew. Please tell me, what the hell do I do? Please. And that was the cuckoo conundrum. That's crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. That's spooky. That's so spooky. Oh my god, that's so spooky. You gotta make it look like an accident, yeah. Just accidentally slip some arsenic or some rat poison into this meal. At least this time wasn't spelled the cuckold conundrum. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. Too spooky for me. Ooh, so spooky. So spooky. Okay. I think these stories were pretty interesting. I'm still wondering if there's any story that's like actually terrifying out there. Cause I feel like spooky stories don't really spook me anymore. Like the only sure you get like psychological horror. Yeah, they were neat. But I wonder when there's gonna be an actual spooky story. Look forward to seeing your nephew's future. Yeah, too spooky for me. Too spooky for me. Question asking, yeah. This is like, am I crazy? Yes, yes you are. The first one was the best. You mean the elevator one? The elevator one was pretty neat, yeah? Funny thing about 𝐒𝐤, how to say his name? 𝐒𝐤𝐚𝐥? Xenomorph guy is a pervert, and the entire point is that is his weird hang-ups. Explains the chest bursters too. Ayo? Ayo? You're on AO3 when you were 11. You're okay. Actually, I was on fanfiction.net. Actually. You should watch Alien. I think I have seen Alien. I have seen Alien before. But I know, is there a game? Is there an Alien game? Alien movies are pretty kinky if you think about it. True. Did you read the Haunted Nintendo cartridge? What? But recently I finally managed to get a chance to watch some anime, and I watched Made in Abyss. Pretty fucked up, not gonna lie. Like, it's cool, but pretty fucked up. I just wanna know what there. Okay. In the third movie, I think. I was watching them movie by movie because I heard, like, the movies are basically just the anime episodes, but, like, condensed into, like, 3 parts. Bondru best... You know, Bondru is kinda... Bondru can get it, you know, he's kinda... Bites lip. But, there's this one part where, Prushka and Rico were talking about... For some reason, they were talking about anatomy. They were talking about pee-pee. They were talking about a pee-pee. And then when she drew it, when Rico drew it, Prushka was like, "Oh, I know what that is. That's Papa's pole." I was like, what? Papa's what? What the fuck? Yeah, Made in Abyss pretty good so far. Still pretty fucked. You know, like everything that happened with like Mitty. How do you feel about pee after Mitty? What is that supposed to mean? It gets worse? Oh god. Yeah, I think the end of the third movie is where I watched up to. I think there's more, right? Is there another movie, or is there like a new season? Not there yet? Oh god. Okay, I guess there's more. I guess there's more. Scientific term, bro. Okay. Oh yeah, there's a new season. All right. I will go and watch that soon. The mangakas, yeah. The entire time I was just watching this, like the only thought in my mind was like, this is just the author's thinly veiled fetish, isn't it? There's always more. Yeah. I think after I get to where I am in the anime, I'll pick up where it was left off with the manga. Thinly, okay, it's not thin at all. It's not even thin at all. But it was yeah, interesting. A very interesting show. Definitely not what I expected. The art style is really cute though. Like I like how they draw it very, very like, you know, very it's kind of almost like chibi style. Those are a bit, I know, right? Those are great. Okay. But that was it from me for today. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm kind of feeling not at my best. Not at my best for the past few days, but I hope you guys still enjoyed. I hope you still... They still Reg P? What? Nothing. Oh, I really need that. If you guys can spare some words of encouragement for Hellme, I promise I will do better for the rest of the week. I will do better, and I will work harder. There's been a lot that we've been preparing for YumaCon, for other projects, things like that. So I feel like I'm just really stressed about everything, and especially since yesterday's concert didn't go how I wanted it to go. I know I'm being a perfectionist about it a lot, but I genuinely just want to show you guys the best. I want to show you the best side of me, okay? Get some pineapple juice. Hey, doesn't pineapple juice make your 𝐒𝐚 taste better? Isn't that what pineapple juice is for? Himekyu. Save that for tomorrow. Y'all are sick and twisted. My say-so streamer? What do you mean? I'm say-so. I'm a say-so idol. 100 bet. She really is trying to prank us. Plap, 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 plap. I want to show you my best side. 2 seconds later. Pineapple just... That's just what I'm just repeating, like, what I see, okay? It's just a fun fact. It's a fun fact. Do not plap the Beatles, but you guys are so plappable. If you think about it, a slime is really just like, you know... Okay, I'm not gonna say anything more. I'm gonna send you guys off to Nasa-senpai, who is doing some drawing. She's drawing, let's see. Oh, she's drawing her character for her TRPG. Yeah. I'll send you guys to Nasa-senpai, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the monster fucker tier list. I hope you guys, you know, please send in your submissions so I can rate your monsters. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Should we ask her about... No! You should not! Nasa-senpai is pure and innocent, and we should not taint her with our sussy pineapple talk, okay? Okay. For now, just tell Nasa-senpai, Hellme raid, Debidu raid, Devil raid, Spooky raid. Some of us made multiple images, and yeah, I'll look over it. If you're looking for the link for submissions, I'm gonna pin the link in the waiting room, so you can access the link there. But it's also on my channel. It's also on my channel and my Twitter if you need it. So for now, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for coming. Thank you. I'm sorry for the low energy stream today. Hopefully I'll feel a bit better. Stop feeling so stressed. Bye bye. What's up? Good day, Hime.